Hey guys, it's Lorella, and we are getting a late start again this week. Thank you so much for your patience with us. So we're going to take a minute and just let everybody check in. If you're here watching, please tell us where you're watching from. If your channel name is different than your first name, let us know. And I'm going to take a look at my phone and get it going on my phone so that I can keep up with comments. Let us know how the volume is. Can you see me, hear me okay? And let's see. Alright, we're live. Make sure I have my volume all the way down. There we go.
It wasn't.
It is now. It is now. Alright, nobody's here with us yet. So we'll just kind of hang out a minute. And if you're watching this on the replay, thanks for stopping by. Today we're going to be talking about taxes on the farm. And I'm not an expert. I'm not an accountant. I have attended a workshop that talks about farm taxes. We can't control what they're doing out there, Chris. Somebody's out in the lobby vacuuming, guys. Sorry about that. Not an expert by any means, but I will talk about what I know and some of the publications that you can refer to for some more exact advice or precise advice. Of course, always check with your accountant to see what accounting methods are best for you, what tax stuff you need to know. Double check everything. Don't just take my word for it. All right, who's here? Who's watching? Tell us where you're watching from. And if your channel name is different than your first name, let me know so that I can call you by name. I'm trying to get to know everybody who stops by the live chats. It might just be you and me counting as 2 viewers, huh, Chris?
I have no idea.
Okay. If you tried to watch last week's live chat, I want to apologize about that. I work as an independent contractor, and I normally schedule myself off on Wednesday afternoons. And I had a job that was a 2 weeks all-day job, and so I was stuck working till 5 p.m. that day and driving from Springfield, and Chris got stuck working late, and he tried to go live from his office, but he didn't have a good enough internet there to really make it go live, so it kind of turned out to be a disaster. I tried calling in. There was problems with people hearing. It was just bad, so I apologize for that. All right, I see a couple more people are joining, so if you're here on the live stream, would you say hi, tell us where you're watching from, and if your channel name is different than your first name, let me know so I can get to know you by name. And then we'll wait a few minutes, and then we'll start talking about taxes. I'm trying to think. Chris, is there anything else that I should talk about or that I should mention while we're waiting for people to join?
You can start off by telling our tax story.
Oh, hi Tina, hi Bree. Good to have you guys watching. Our tax story and why we have an accountant, that tax story?
Yeah.
Okay. When we lived in California, we did our own taxes by TurboTax, and I've always had my own business. And after we moved here, we got a letter from the IRS, and we were audited over a 3-year period. And basically we had accidentally entered some information in the same information in 2 different places, because I guess you just kind of fill in the blanks and inadvertently entered mileage like twice or something. And so that flagged it, and they called for an audit. And in our move, we had not been great record keepers beforehand, and in the move all of our stuff was in storage between 2 different states, and we weren't able to get a lot of the documentation that we needed, and so we got hit hard with an amount that we have to pay back to the IRS. Since then, we no longer do our own taxes. I hire an accountant to do it, and I'm very happy to do so. The fee that we're paying is well worth the service that we get. Homestead in the Highlands, hello. And you're watching from, is that Scotland? Is that correct? Good to have you in the house. And Kathleen from Mama Grows, I'm glad you're here. So 1 Acre Under God. Oh, I remember you. You are in 1 Acre Under God. You're here in Missouri, correct? I believe. Um, sorry, I have my notepad, but I don't have it open to that page because I have something else that I want to talk about. So, Northeast Scotland. Wow. So tonight we're going to be talking about taxes. I do not know anything about farm taxes in Scotland, so I can't answer any of your questions. I'm sure there will be other things that we talk about that may be of interest to you, but thank you for watching. And what's your first name? And then Sherilyn Stanfield. Hi, good evening. Good to have you. Where are you watching from, Sherilyn? And, oh, wait, I know. Homestead in the Highlands, you're Cheryl, is that right? I think that's right. Okay. So I was just giving a little bit of backstory, and I'm sorry about the vacuum. We use a room at the church, and somebody's vacuuming in the lobby right outside the door where we are. We don't have control of that, so if it's noisy or bother you, can everybody hear me okay and see me okay? All right. And J-Dogs, and I remember Jerry, I think. Jerry, yes. Hello from Houston. Okay. So, again, I'm going to say sorry about last week's live stream to any of you who tried to watch it. I work as an independent contractor, and I normally schedule myself off Wednesday afternoons, but I had an opportunity to do a 2-week job, and it was Monday through Friday, 8 to 5, and it's about an hour away. And so we thought Chris would be able to handle the live stream, and then he got stuck at work. And he tried to do it from his work, but the internet wasn't great, and there was no sound part of the time, and it was just a disaster, and sorry about that. So we just deleted it. So sorry to those of you if you tried to check in with us last week. That's why we weren't live. Also, tonight we're going to be talking about taxes here in the U.S., and specifically farm taxes. And I want to add that I'm not an expert on this. I do hire an accountant, and I have been to a workshop about farm taxes, so it's going to be just basic surface information. I will refer you to some publications that you can look at, and I advise you to ask your accountant what is the best way for you to file. So that being said, where are we at? Are we about 5:30, Chris?
About 3 minutes out.
Okay. Hey, Rebecca. Okay, so we're about 3 minutes. So I guess we'll go ahead and we'll just start talking about it. When you choose to file taxes as a farm, there's a couple of ways you can do it, and you can either do it as hobby income or as a business. And if you're doing it as hobby income, I'm not sure exactly what you can deduct and what you can't, but that is something that you'll need to talk to an accountant about. If you choose to do it as a business, then you, within a 5-year period, you have to claim a profit. I think 3 out of the 5 years or 2 out of the 5 years. I'm not sure. It's 2 and 3, but I don't remember if you can have 3 years worth of losses or you have to have at least 3 years of profit within any 5-year period. If you have like 10 years of losses, the IRS is going to be like, wait a minute, this isn't really a business. You're just spending a lot of money and you want to take it off deductions. You're not actually running a business. So that is one thing that you're going to have to do if you want to take these deductions on your farm. And also, so let's talk about, first of all, what is the IRS's definition of a farm? And I actually looked it up. Let me see if I still have it. And if I don't, maybe, Chris, let's see.
So let's remind everyone, if you need IRS forms or information, you can find all that at irs.gov.
Correct. And Chris, I sent you a link. Do you have it earlier to
the Farmer's Tax Guide?
Yes. The Farmer's Tax Guide 2018. I think it's publication 225.
Yep.
If you Google that, it's about a 90-page document, and it will walk you through a lot of these things, what you can claim and what you can't. And then there's another website called ruraltax.org, where they are there to help persons who work as a farm. So let me see. Okay. All right, let me just look it up again because I had it handy and now I don't. So
So I want to say a big thanks to Mama Grows for moderating tonight.
Thanks so much.
It's very much appreciated.
All right. So, IRS definition of a farm.
That's annoying.
Sorry, that's the way I look stuff up.
Learn to type.
I have fat thumbs. Okay, here it is. A farmer is an individual who is engaged in farming per the definition found above. That doesn't make sense. Let's try it one more time. Never mind. It's on this page. Sorry, guys. Thanks for your patience. Okay. Here it is. I found it. Nope. Did I? Ah! I thought it was all set and had it ready to go. Man, Chris, can you just look it up for me and then read it when you get it? Because I can, or find it on my phone. The IRS definition of a farm. It's basically, though, it's someone who has a business with livestock, and specifically that's like poultry, dairy, orchard, vegetables. Sorry, I had it and then I don't have it, and I apologize for that. So let's say that you meet the IRS definition of a farm and you're going to run it as a business with hopes of making profit. So let's say that would be someone who's going to sell their produce at the farmer's market, or you're going to sell directly from your home. You're going to raise animals and sell the meat, poultry. You're going to raise hogs and sell them. You're going to take cows to auction, anything like that. If you want to make money on your homestead or make money on your farmstead, and then you can do this as a business. Now, where you can't file it under farm, it gets a little bit tricky. If you're making products that are not the actual thing you're raising or growing. So, for example, if you have maple trees and you're going to sell maple syrup, then the syrup doesn't get, the income from the syrup doesn't go on Schedule F with the other farm stuff. All the way up to sap, the raising of the trees, the equipment to take the sap out, all of that is farming. But the minute you process it into something else other than that, then it's no longer, that's not farm income.
Okay, I got that definition for you.
Okay.
You are in the business of farming if you cultivate, operate, or manage a farm for profit, either as owner or tenant. A farm includes livestock, dairy, poultry, fish, fruit, and truck farms. It also includes plantations, ranches, ranges, or other orchards and groves.
All right. So that's the definition of a farm. Now we have in the house NKY Homestead. Hello. Grateful Soonites. Hey, Jay. Food Force Permaculture. Hello, Howie. Christy Betts is here again. Hello. Let's see. Everybody saying hi to each other. Muskogee Farm. Oh, look. Muskogee Farm actually copied and pasted the definition into the live chat. Thank you so much. Jay, thanks. I love my shirt too. In our Amazon store, which is it's notafarmgirl.com/shop. I have a list of my shirts, so you can check that out if you'd like to. Let's see. All right. So I think we're caught up. Okay. Now, so if you're doing those if you're running it as a business and you want to make money off of it, so you're not just growing your own food for yourself. If you're doing that, then you may not be able to take some of these deductions. But if you're selling anything, then you probably can. So let's talk about, one other thing that I want to say is that this year, between 2017 and 18, the standard deductions were practically doubled the amount you can take. So in 2017, a single person standard deduction would have been $6,350, or a married person filing separately. A married persons filing jointly would be $12,700, and a head of household $9,350. 2018, it's pretty much double. Single or married person filing separately is $12,000 for the standard deduction. Married filing jointly is $24,000 for the standard deduction, and head of household is $18,000 for the standard deduction. So you're going to have quite a lot of deductions more now for it to make it worth it for you to itemize your deductions as compared to last year's taxes. So if you're already filing, though, itemized deductions because you own a house and you have that interest or whatever, then you probably will continue to do so. But if, depending on how much you're spending on your farm, your deductions may not be enough to come out better than the standard deduction. So that's something else that you're going to have to talk to your accountant about. Okay.
So 1 Acre Under God has a question.
Okay.
What about making soap from goat's milk and other skincare products, or selling the fibers from the goats, etc.?
Right. So I would assume, based on what I know about the sap to syrup process, that it's the same thing. That once you start selling the goat's milk soap, that soap does not count as income on your Schedule F. You would still claim that income somewhere else on your tax form, but it wouldn't be part of your farm income. So, and you're going to have other processes that you can deduct for that. So, like your soap molds, your double boiler, any essential oils you buy to add into it. So, any of that is going to be your other part of your business expenses. There's still business expenses and business income, but they'll be put somewhere else on your tax forms. So, the raising of the goats and the feed that you buy for them, all of that, those are farm expenses. But the soap part of it would be a separate part of the business. And I don't know exactly whether you have to, I assume that your one umbrella farm company could have those separate parts of the business and they would just be written down somewhere differently. But I don't know. Like I said, I'm not an accountant. Let's see. I think we're pretty much caught up on questions. Okay, so then let's say, okay, I'm a business. I'm gonna sell at farmers markets. I want to make a profit. I want to do this so that I'm not only providing food for my family, but also I have money to buy clothes and pay for gas and stuff like that. Okay, then you have to determine what kind of business you are. Most small farmers are sole proprietors, and they don't have separate bank accounts. You know, once you grow to a certain point and you're making good income, it's wise to have a business bank account. A lot of banks will do that with no fees. Our bank has a business bank account that has no fees, and it's easy to set up. You got to file your doing business as name with the Secretary of State in most states. There's a small fee for that. You might want to be an LLC, which is a limited liability corporation, depending on, you know, because that separates your personal income or your personal liability from the business liability. But most farmers are business and personal stuff is all kind of tied up together. So that's another thing where you really want to talk to your accountant and be like, okay, am I doing business as? Am I a sole proprietor? Am I a limited liability corporation? What's really going to be best for me for tax purposes? Once you decide that, if you're going to open up a bank account, then you have to go to the IRS and get an EIN, Employer Identification Number. And that doesn't matter whether you have any employees or not. When you go, it'll say, why are you doing this? And you can check for banking purposes only. And then a bank won't open a business account for you without that number. So you need an EIN. And then at some point later, if you grew and were able to have employees, or you need to pay yourself a salary out of that money, then you would already have that EIN with the IRS, and you would just change your filing status. And that's something your accountant can help you do. So let's say you've talked to your accountant now. And Chris, I don't know if you're hearing it. I'm hearing a little bit of echo from your headphones, but I don't know if that's going through to the feed. Are you guys hearing any kind of echo? Or is it just at my end?
It's just you.
Okay. All right. Oh, Farm Alarm's in the house. Yes, Farm Alarm and LLC is pretty easy to set up. I've set up 2 of them here in Missouri, and I had to go and like Google and YouTube some terms and be like, am I member run or am I whatever, and find out what it all meant. But it's not really difficult. There's lots of things that can walk you through it. Okay, no echo. Rebecca says you can sell rocks for Phil, but can't turn them into pets and sell them. All right. Okay. So once you've decided what kind of business you are and all of that, another important step is going to be choosing your method of record keeping. It can be as simple as a spiral notebook. I started to lift one up, but I don't. I just have our tax form that our accountant, this is our taxes from last year. And it's big. This is why I recommend that you have an accountant do it, because look at all those pages, guys. There's lots of forms that all tie into it. So you need some kind of record keeping. You can keep handwritten notes in a journal, a 3-ring binder. You can keep a spreadsheet. You can find some kind of tracking app on your phone, whatever works for you. The one thing though is, let's say you open a business account and you're like, okay, I'm just going to use my business debit card every time I pay for something, and then I'll have that statement, that bank statement, as proof. The IRS doesn't want a bank statement as proof, or the credit card statement. They actually want the receipt. So make sure you save your receipts. All right. Okay, so I'm going to pause here for a second, and I want to say hello and welcome. If you came in after I already started, I'm Lorella, not a farm girl. 4 years ago, Chris and I moved our family from the rat race of Los Angeles to rural Missouri to have a more organic lifestyle with closer ties to our food and to our land. We are learning to farm, to grow food for our family, to provide for ourselves. Tonight we're talking about farm taxes, and again, I'm giving the disclaimer, I'm not an accountant, I'm not an expert. I've taken a workshop on farm taxes, and I have hired an accountant. So what I am saying is some practical advice, but I'm going to end every little segment with double check with your accountant. Just don't take my word for it. Double check with your accountant. I'm going to give you an idea of some of the things that you can deduct, but certainly it's not going to be an exhaustive list. I'm also going to refer you to publication 225, the IRS farmer, what's the exact name of it, Chris? Do you remember? Farmers Resource, Farmers Tax something.
The Farmer Tax Guide.
The Farmer's Tax Guide. It's about a 90-page document that will go into more detail on all of these things. And also ruraltax.org is another organization that's set up to help you understand your taxes. So always, always, always get expert advice. Let's see what we're doing. All right, guys. Farm Alarm uses QuickBooks. And there's farm ledgers at farm stores. Rosanna, hello. Welcome. Thank you for joining us. And let's see. Yes. Oh, NK My Homesteading says, gotta love the disappearing ink on those receipts. I know. I am with you on that. That is like a pain in the neck. Okay. Lorella, not an accountant girl. Exactly. There we go. Exactly. Okay. So that being said, what are some things that you can deduct if you've gone through all these steps and you're gonna? Oh, I actually heard one tip. One person said, you know how like usually when you walk in from outside, especially if you live northern or snowy areas like we do, you got your coat rack and your boot area, and then you have a little manila envelope tacked to the wall, and you just drop your farm receipts in there as you come in. That way they don't end up in the wash or lost. So that's one way you can do it. I enter them in my phone when I try to do it on the day of. So let's talk about some of the things you can deduct. All right. This is the Schedule F form, which is also available at irs.gov. And it will list all the different kinds of income that you can make. So you've got sales of livestock or other resale items, which I guess eggs would be that. Bees are also included as livestock. So you can, if you have a honey farm, a honeybee farm. Even if you live in the city, you can do Schedule F. Let's see. Sales of produce, grains, other products you raised. So you're selling your rabbits, you're selling the meat from the rabbits, the chickens, the whatever, your fruit and veg, that sort of thing. Let's see. And some of these things are going to be for bigger farms. I'm specifically talking to smaller homestead, small farm, hobby farm type individuals.
So all this is off of which part of the Schedule F there that you're looking
Part
at?
1.
Part 1.
Oh, let's talk about something. If you go work for your neighbor and you have a tractor and you like help rake and bale their hay and they pay you, then that you would count that. That is in like where is it? I think that's the custom hire income. So there's all your incomes. And if you're not sure, again, ask your accountant. So your Part 2, farm expenses. And there's 2 different methods of keeping records. There's cash and accrual. And cash method means from January 1st to December 31st, any money I take in is income. Any money that goes out is expense. Accrual is like, let's say I am selling a cow in December, but I'm not going to get paid until January, but I want to count it in December because it is better on my taxes, something like that. There are reasons that they want to shift stuff around from year to year. That's accrual. Most small farmers are going to be working on a cash basis. All right, so you've got car and truck expenses. So those are going to be like your registration for your vehicle, new tires, stuff like that. For your farm vehicle, not your everyday car that you're like running around town in. The one you use to haul feed, the one you use, well, it might be your same vehicle, but you know, the one that's used mostly for farm type work. Chemicals are going to be like people who put fertilizer down on their field, lime, anything like that. Conservation expenses, if you put in I'm trying to think, like a watering system. Sometimes those are conservation expenses, things like that. Custom hire. So if you hire the next guy next door to come do your haying and mowing for you, then you can write that off. Oh, and then there's going to be another one that's labor on here. Let me see. On line 22, labor hired. So this is going to be not specific labor. So let me give you a little hint here. This is something we did, and it's very legal. It's within the tax code. If you have kids and they do work on your farm for you and you want to pay them for that as opposed to just doling out an allowance. So like when our kids were homeschooled and didn't have jobs in town, we paid them $10 a week and they worked on the farm with us as part of their daily activity. And there's a specific reason we did $10 a week. It's because up to, Chris, help me verify, 600, that's right. If anybody who works for you in a year's time and you pay them less than $600 a year, you do not have to give them a 1099 for that income. If you pay them $600.01 in the year, you cross that $600 line, you're going to have to give them a 1099 and you have to have their social security number and all that to do it. So if you have the kid from church or, you know, the neighbor kid come in and he's going to house sit for you while you're gone and take care of all your farm animals, you're going to pay him 50 or $100, then you can deduct that as labor. You don't have to 1099 him. You don't have to have anything except documentation that you did it. It's good to pay it by check, then you have a canceled check. But even if you pay cash, it's not a problem as long as you have record of it. You got their name, what dates it was, that kind of thing. So let's
and
see.
let me jump in here. I'm going to add that if you need more than $600 to work, dole it out among a bunch of kids.
Right. So you can do that. Let's see. I'm trying to look down, see if I have any questions. Hey, Liz is in the house. I don't know who else has joined. See a bunch of chit chat. All right. If you have a question. Okay, Grateful Tonight says photocopy your receipts and save the copies with the originals. That's a way to do it. That's a good tip. If you have a question, put like 3 or 4 question marks before and after it and put it in all caps. That'll help us spot it in the live chat. Farm 23 Homestead. Hello, Monica. Where are you watching from? Glad to have you in the house. Okay. So that's labor. And how are we doing on time, Chris?
We got about another 10 minutes.
Okay, cool. All right. Feed. Any feed that you give to your animals is deductible. That adds up rather quickly. Fertilizers and lime had its own spot. I don't know what the chemicals would be then. I guess other chemicals. We're a non-chemical farm, so we don't usually have anything on that.
That's for your round.
Freight and trucking. If you pay someone to come haul your cattle off to market, or if you pay for someone to bring in a piece of equipment to your farm, anything like that goes there. Delivery fees. Gasoline, fuel, and oil. So if you have small equipment that you use on your farm, like your weed eaters, your what else, Chris, do we have? That lawnmower, like tractors, anything that stays on farm and uses fuel, you can use that. Make sure if you have small engine, you're buying premium fuel for it. The oil, gasoline, and fuel for your farm equipment is deductible. Your insurance that's not health insurance. So if you carry liability insurance on your farm, which I would recommend if you're selling produce especially, or food from your farm.
Or for your equipment.
Or if you have, also if you have insurance over your equipment. And some of these, there's going to be percentages. So let's say that, like the next one says, interest, your mortgage interest. That's not what I was talking about. Percentage. So let's say you have a home insurance, homeowner's insurance that covers your farm and your outbuildings and your house. Your insurance agent will help you figure out what percentage of that is covering your farm buildings and what percentage of that is covering your house. And the part that's for your farm buildings can get deducted here. Let's see. What else have we got? Pension, profit sharing, rent, or lease. Okay, we live on my mom's property, and we have 2.5 acres that she's allowed us to use for our farm for anything we want, and then we share some outbuildings with her. And when we first moved, we were helping her out, like if she needed propane, we'd help her fill up her propane tank, or things like that. We'd buy her groceries from time to time. Well, come to find out, if we have a formal lease agreement, which we now do, we give her the same amount every month, and we have a formal lease agreement written out, and that payment that goes to my mom that she can use for her groceries or her propane or whatever needs she has, that lease amount is deductible every year off of here. And it doesn't have to be big. I mean, you could do, when we started, we were paying her $50 a month because that's what we could afford, and that was a help to her. So you can work out something like that with your family. I'm sorry, Chris, what happened?
Nothing, we're good.
Okay, so I'm leaning over and look at me. I was like, I know I was doing this. Is like the sound going up and down when I rock forward?
No, you're fine.
Okay, good. All right. Let's see, what else have we got here? Vehicles. You can rent or lease land, animals, vehicles, machinery, equipment. Any of that is deductible. Repairs and maintenance that you do on anything. Seeds and plants. When you plant your garden or crop, you can, sorry, I was just looking to see if there were any questions yet. You can count those seeds. So all the seeds that I bought from Baker's Creek last year when I was doing my market garden, all of that's getting deductible. I kept all those receipts. And plants, starts, storage and warehousing. If you have to keep your tractor somewhere else and you have to pay for storage or anything like that. Supplies. Okay, now supplies, I thought supplies and equipment were separate, but I don't see an equipment line on here.
Vehicles, machinery, equipment, 24A for rent or lease. And then if you've...
But what about equipment that you purchase? Like that used to be a separate line. This is the 2018 one that I printed though. They may have changed it. Yes. So your supplies are going to be anything that is not major equipment.
Item.
Yes, anything that's expendable that's going to get used up. So let's say you're building a new chicken coop and you go and you buy screws and you buy some lumber and a new bit for your drill, all of those are supplies that you can write off your taxes. If you buy T-post to put in a new fence, that's a farm supply. Sprayers, if you have a garden sprayer, yeah, did that help you know what I was talking about? The pump kind with the thing, yeah. That's a technical thing. Garden sprayers, so many things. Seed trays.
So
help me out, Chris.
Anything that will wear out over time.
Right, and not like over a long time though, because like your tractor's equipment, it will eventually wear out.
Like 5 or 7 years.
Yeah, I think shorter than that. I don't know, but think of it. Equipment is like long-lasting stuff, and supplies are things that get used, here and there. Scoops for feed. Your warmer, your de-icer for your animals' water, the water thing itself, the tank, the feed trough, buckets, wheelbarrow. I don't know, wheelbarrow, would that be equipment?
Yeah.
Wheelbarrow's probably equipment because it's more durable. It's going to last longer. But you get what I'm saying? Anything you use on your farm to take care of your farm, hoses are going to be supplies. Replacement batteries for your flashlights, all that kind of stuff can go in there. All right, and let's see.
Taxes and utilities.
Yes, taxes you pay. So like we pay our personal property tax and stuff like that. You're gonna write all that down. And take it to your accountant. Utilities. So utilities is going to work the same way as your insurance, where it's going to be a percentage. So let's say, like in our house, we have a shop attached to our house that uses electricity. We use our water. We don't have a water bill though, but it takes electricity to run the well pump to feed the animals.
And I'll point out that if you're developing a property, we deducted our well a major percentage of it, because when I went to the accountant, I told him, we put in this well, but we had it upsized to handle our livestock and irrigation needs for our future orchard. And he's like, well, if you had to put a percentage on it, what would it be? And I told him, I said, I can tell you those 2 horses drink a whole lot more water than I do. And he goes, you know what? You're right. And we came out to, I think, about 70% of our well drilling and pump installation costs were deductible that way.
Yes. All right. So I see that it says Mel has a question, and I see where she has how about ornamental plants? No. So remember, I don't know if you were here for the beginning, but I'm going to say but. Hold on that thought, because maybe. You can deduct these items when the purpose of them is to produce an income for your farm. So if that ornamental plant is a plant that will put off an odor that repels bugs or deer, then yes. But if it's just purely ornamental because it looks good and that's all, it's just decorating your farm, no. However, if you're going to cut seedling or starts off of it and then sell those starts to other people, then yes, you can deduct the ornamental plant.
Or if you're selling cut flowers.
Or yeah, if you're going to sell cut flowers, then that's a direct income producing activity. So the cost of the initial plant. So I hope that answers your question, Mel. All right. Let's see. So I want to say again, good night, Howie, and everybody. Okay. Hi, Anne. All right. Again, I'm not an accountant. I'm not an expert. And these are tax laws for the United States for the IRS. Each state is going to have their own laws for state taxes. So definitely check with your accountant. Check with your state's publications. Check with publication 225 that the IRS puts out. That's the farm tax guideline. Go to ruraltax.org to get some more information. These are just some basic things that I had never thought about might be deductible until I went to this workshop, and I was like, whoa. And you can print PDF forms and read them from the IRS website. It's irs.gov. This is Schedule F, which is the farm income expense. There's other schedules, other forms that feed into this. So always do research, and you can just like Google IRS farm information or IRS PDF farm or whatever, and you'll get a list of different things. So just make sure that you're always looking at the irs.gov website. You'll know it's an official form. Put the year in for the year that you want to look at, because things do change from year to year. You want to make sure that you're getting the correct one. And if you're at a different website, just take it with a grain of salt. They might not have the most up-to-date information, so you want to always double check that.
What I would recommend to anyone, print Schedule F out, sit down at your table with your significant other or your farm mates and go over it. See if you have anything that you think fits those categories, and then talk to your accountant or file it with your taxes after you filled it out. It's a great deduction off your net income.
Hey, Little Creek Homestead. Welcome, Vicky. Okay, something else I'd like to say right now. If you have found tonight's information at all useful, please share this video later once the replay is up. Please hit the thumbs up button. Please leave a comment, because it does help with engagement. It helps YouTube know that you guys like this, that you have found it valuable. And I think that these are things that small farmers and homesteaders really would like to know about. So I'm going to ask you guys to do that. If you haven't subscribed yet, please hit the subscribe button and the bell. We're going to try to go live every week around 5:15. We're really trying to nail down that 5:15 time, but it might be closer to 5:30 each week. We appreciate it. Let me see if there's anything else on here I didn't cover yet. Vet bills, breeding costs, medicine. So any of that kind of information or any of that kind of expense can be recorded. And then it has other expenses as well. Your farm dog, if it's
a livestock guard dog,
right, if it's a LGD
or a herding dog,
right, you can take care of it. So you cannot count pets. It's got to be animals specifically involved in the farm business. And then there was something else I thought of also. You can include, other expenses would include like education. So if you have a subscription to Homestead Magazine, that can be deducted. If you have a subscription, if you have a membership to a local bee club, or if you go take a continuing education course somewhere, if you go to Homesteaders of America, you can deduct the cost of that, and probably some of the travel costs too, because that is helping you run your farm business. So you want to make sure and keep all your receipts from that and document it, your food, your travel, and basically you're going to need to have some way of documenting what you've learned there. That could be as simple as a brochure or something from their website, a little snippet copied and pasted. Because remember, in most cases, you're going to bring these numbers to your accountant. They're going to fill out the forms. You're never going to have to worry about it. Every once in a while, you're going to find someone who gets audited, and then they want to know what was that course you took? What did you learn there? What did you talk about? Something else you can do is if you go out to dinner with your spouse or your family and you sit down and over that dinner you talk about your plans for the garden for the upcoming year, that just became a business meal, because you were talking about where are we going to spend our money, what are we going to do, how are we going to run our farming business. You can do that.
And I got a tip on that.
Okay.
Any meals under $50,
yeah,
you don't have to keep the receipt.
Oh, really?
That's correct.
I keep all of them just in case, but I'm a little bit, I probably do record more than I need to. But again, you have to know who you were with and what you talked about. That was where I got dinged on my business before, is because I had kept all my receipts, but I hadn't written down like what we talked about that was business related. And that was with my interpreting business. That wasn't with my farm. And the IRS was like, can't count those because you don't remember. I'm like, it was 4 years ago. I don't know who I sat down with. You got to write down that kind of stuff. So we were going to a bee club, and every week before bee club, we would go out to dinner as a family, and we would talk about bee things. And it wasn't every week, every month, and our farm plans and all that. And we got to deduct all those meals.
But you were usually meeting with like the bee club presidents or vice presidents or officers.
Right. Or other new
beekeepers.
And also you can deduct mileage. Now I don't see that on this farm, on this form. but I'm not. That might be because it says car and truck expenses attached form 4562. It might be on there. So if you go make egg deliveries, track your mileage. If you go to the feed store, track your mileage. Every time you
Farmer's Market.
Go to the farmer's market, track your mileage. If you're going to a club or a class, track your mileage. If you are anything, if you're going anywhere related to farm business, track your mileage. All right. So that was a very, very brief overview. I hope that it has been helpful to all of you. To those of you in the UK, I know it's not helpful to you guys at all, but I really appreciate you stopping by and watching. It's fun having you along always. Thank you to my moderators for hanging out. And Chris, do we have a way to keep this running once we end the live part so they can keep chatting if they need to?
Yeah, we'll throw up a little countdown.
All right, Chris is going to do that. Let's see. Is there... I can't think of anything else we need to do. So thank you so much for stopping by. I'm going to have a video right now every Saturday morning, 5:30 a.m. Central, and Wednesday's live stream at 5:30 p.m. So 5:30s, 5:30s, maybe 5:30 and 5:15 if we can get our act together on Wednesday evenings. And we will always finish with by 6:15 because we got to be out of this room because we use the room at the church. Thank you so much to everybody who stopped by. I enjoyed it. And can't watch everybody in the chat, so thank you again to the moderators. And I feel like I'm just saying the same thing over and over, so I guess I'm gonna get off. Chris, are you ready for the countdown thing?
No, not exactly.
Not exactly. Okay, we'll keep talking. So do you guys have any idea of something that you would like me to talk about next week? If you do, let me know. Always, you can check out our Amazon store where you can see our list of shirts, our camera equipment. Chris, have you put this new microphone in the Amazon store yet? Maybe we'll add that. We got a new microphone over this weekend, and Chris has been really trying to work hard to make these live streams smooth and technically good. So let us know any feedback on that. Again, our Amazon store is notafarmgirl.com/shop, I believe.
Yes, it is.
Okay.
What we got in there is the wish list, your shirts,
right,
all of our farm tools and such.
Yep, and our YouTube gear. And so I think next week we might talk about Ron. Thank you for staying on topic. You're very welcome. There was a lot to talk about, so that's why I couldn't chat as much as just talk at you. So I appreciate you guys talking to each other because I couldn't really keep up with this and to talk about all that farm stuff. Next week, I think what Chris and I tried to talk about on last week's disastrous live chat, when we actually ended up not being able, we had to just delete it because it was such bad quality, was what we thought moving to the farm was going to be like and what reality has been like. So if that's something you want to know about, we might talk about that next week. If you have any other stuff that you'd like us to talk about, be sure and let me know. And Chris, are you?
I think we're ready.
I think we're ready. All right, so I'm going to say goodbye. We're going to start cleaning stuff up here, but he's going to leave the countdown screen on so you guys can hang out and chat a little more. Thank you so much for stopping by with us this week, and we will see you next time the rooster crows.
No, we're clear. They can't see you or hear you.
Okay. I hit the red stop button. Oh, but it restarted it.
Just close that pen.
Okay. Alright, so how do you feel about how it went once we got here and got set up?
I think it went good.
Okay.
I think just a few more things would remember it would make it like that much better, but we'll talk about that later.
Okay. Are you glad that I remembered to say?
Yes.